Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We are blessed to start off the study of Surah Waqiah. Inshallah, we will start off with the intentions for seeking knowledge and teaching Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I intend to seek knowledge and to teach, to benefit myself and to benefit others, to remind myself and to remind others, to profit myself and to profit others, to urge adherence to the book of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to invite to guidance and to guide to that which is good, seeking the face of Allah, His pleasure, His cause, and His reward, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right, continue on with our Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم نور بالقرآن بصري واشرح به صدري وأطلق به لساني واستعمل به بدني وقوي به جناني وأسرع به فهمي بحولك وقوتك فإنه لا حول ولا قوة إلا بك يا أرحم الراحمين. والصلاة على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. بفضل سبحانك ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. Alhamdulillah, Surah Al-Waqi'ah. It's a surah of wealth, the benefits of Surah Al-Waqi'ah. It is 56th surah in the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever recites Surah Al-Waqi'ah at night would never encounter poverty. So it is a guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. And we should understand the meaning of poverty is not only confined to being poor without money, but also poverty of knowledge, poverty of a really good relationship, poverty of good mental health, poverty of emotional health. So we are enriched, inshallah, with all the good things of life, and we will be able to sustain ourselves well in this world, and also inshallah will be rewarded further in the next one. Rasulullah SAW said Surah Al-Waqi'ah is a surah of wealth, so recite it and teach it to your children. So we are advised by Rasulullah SAW not only to recite it ourselves, but also to teach it to our children. It's very good if we can start off very early, actually, because the children be under 7 years of age, they are not reading, but they are memorizing, and it strengthens their brains. In teaching them to memorize. So a lot of ulama that teach their children to memorize the Quran at a very, very young age, even 5, 6 years old, they are memorizing the Quran already. And we should be together with our children reciting the verses so that they will slowly, inshallah, memorize it. The recitation of Surah Al-Waqi'ah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud had been one of the close companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and had developed into being a distinguished and zealous personality of Islam. So we have here Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. During the caliphate of Uthman, he suffered a bout of illness which eventually resulted in his death. Uthman once came to pay him a visit and finding him distressed asked, "What distresses you so greatly?" "My sins," he answered. So this is a man of great piety. Nothing troubles him except sins. "Tell me your wish so that I can fulfill it for you." So Sayyidina Umar, being the caliph at that time, is showing a good example of visiting his subjects and also trying to help them in whatever way he can. So these are the questions that he actually asked. "I desire Allah's mercy," replied Ibn Mas'ud. So again, we see Ibn Mas'ud as a person who is inclined to be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. The Caliph asked, "If you permit, I could call for the doctor." It is a doctor who has made me sick somehow. He doesn't seem to like doctors, and maybe he is a different kind of person, right? And not everybody I mean, we don't want to blame doctors and say doctors make us sick, but sometimes maybe, right, out of wrong prescription, we might become more sick than normal. If you want, I could present you with gifts from the public treasury. So he's exploring, as the caliph, he's exploring ways to help his subject here. So, you're sick, I can call a doctor. If you need money, then I can get money from you. He refused. Osman insisted, let these gifts be for your daughters then. They are not in need of your presence. Ibn Mas'ud replied, I've instructed them to recite the chapter Al-Waqiah every night, for surely I have heard Rasulullah say, one who recites the chapter of waqiah every night shall never be afflicted by poverty. So that is how he has such great trust in the surah of Allah. In this surah, great trust in the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he really believes that if you recite waqiah, you'll never be poor, so you don't have any needs from anyone, inshallah. So this is of the sahabas of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right, let's move on to the introduction. This is the seventh surah of this group, and on it ends its Meccan surah. So this is this group with the theme of arguments on afterlife and the requirements of faith in it begins with Surah Qaf and ends with Surah Tahrim. All right, so this is the seventh surah. There's a few scholars who actually divide the Quran into groups, and they identify. This is the present day Quran. And the present day Quran, they identify the themes of each group, and then they classify them, right? So this is one of the classifications. It summarizes the whole discussion regarding reward and punishment mentioned from Surah Qaf till Surah Rahman. So it's all about the afterlife. Main theme is the afterlife and the requirements of faith in it. That means the need to have faith in the afterlife. So this surah summarizes what was discussed from Surah Qaf until Surah Rahman. In these previous surahs, all the details on this topic has been stated in the light of arguments based on human intellect and human nature, as well as in the world within the human and that outside him. So these were discussed about, as mentioned, the topic of the afterlife is detailed and argued, right, based on how the human can understand it, and human intellect and human nature, as well as on the world within a person. In this surah, instead of explaining these arguments, the Quraysh has been informed of the result. The Day of Judgment is an irrefutable event, and there is not the slightest uncertainty in it. So it starts off like that. Surah Rahman and Waqiah. So Surah Rahman is a surah just before Surah Waqiah in the Quran. These two are mirror images. The main subjects in Surah Rahman comes in reverse in Waqiah. Subjects in order in Ar-Rahman, greatness of the Quran, Allah's power, and ingratitude of man with repeated questions. So Allah talks, there's فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So that is talking about the powers of Allah and the ingratitude of men. People of hellfire, first and foremost, and these come in reverse in Waqiah, but ending with a unique conclusion on the end of life. And so we have first and foremost, people of hell, Allah's power, greatness of Quran, right? And this is, and with an addition of the life, how our life ends. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, we go on the words first, and if you have the booklets with you, I've forwarded to you all the link to the booklets. What we do normally is that we go through the words, which are quite difficult, and then we explain first, and then we will go through word by word the verses, and then we will go through some of the various points on the verse itself. And for those who have learned Arabic, we would include certain grammatical items also, so that you can have a revision of grammar in itself. So waqa'a, and waqa'a is the word. What is waqa'a? Waqa'a means to fall, or to occur, or to happen. And the ta at the end is actually a female, waqa'at. It's supposed to be waqa'at. But when we will look at the verse and we'll see the T there, because normally this is actually a past tense, we call it fi'l al-madi. And fi'l al-madi, fi'ls do not end with the kasrah. But sometimes there is a need to put a kasra there because of the sentence in itself, right? I will look at it once we go to the sentence. So we have rujat. Again, this is a female structure. The ta at the end, you know, is a female structure. And the root word is rajaja, the root word. So rujat. Rujat is shaken. All right. Then you've got busat, basata, basasa, right? Ta at the end, again, female, powdered. All right, and then we've got haba. Haba is haba, dust, small particles. Haba and haba. Then you've got mumbatha. Root word is nabatha, floating or scattered. Mumbatha, something which is floating or scattered. And this one, you know, is an ism, right? Haba and also is an ism, but the an is not shown. It's supposed to be haba and here. Nasab state. This is also nasab state. All right, we start off with the surah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Idha waqa'atil waqi'ah. All right, idha is when. You are quite familiar with that word. Waqa'at. So the waqi'ah here, you can see it's a female. Female entity. So the female entity here will cause the ism to be female here. So this is past tense. Befell, when befell the event. Now we look at the grammar here. Right, it seems past tense, but in Arabic, past tense doesn't mean it's the past, because as we know, this event is not going to be the past, it's in the future. But when the Arabs use past tense, it means it's confirmed. Okay? There's no way you can deny it. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ. All right, so as mentioned, it's supposed to be waqa'at, right? But because of this sukun here and a need to smoothly recite it, it goes into a kasrah here. So it's a matter of reciting. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ. So waqi'ah is the event. Al-dah, so waqi'ah. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ. Right, when the occurrence occurs. So this is the other translation. The occurrence occurs when the event befalls. All right, befalleth is always befalls. So, and then when the event inevitably comes to pass. So these are all attempts by translators to get the meaning of it all, right? Things that befall. Waqi'ah also comes from the root word waqa'ah, right? And then when the terror descends, all right, so you can see the waqi'ah is translated as terror and descends as befall. So these are the various translations, quite different, but actually giving the same idea. All right, so إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ. So we see waqi'ah here has a dhamma because this is the one that is befalling, right? So the verb is of course for the rafa here, the ism which is in a rafa state. So Allah starts off with saying when befell the event. So the event is so it's just all of just the start, and straight away Allah talks about the falling of an event, and we don't even know what this event is, right? So somehow it creates some kind of suspense in those listening to the verse for the first time. When waqa'atil waqi'ah. Al-waqi'ah, the occurrence, is one of the names of the day of resurrection. Waqa'ah means something to happen. So wuqu' means to fall or drop. So al-waqi'ah is an ism in which shows a singular incident. So it's only one particular, so the event. So when it is specific, the with an al means specific. If it says no al, then it's non-specific. So once it's specific, it's as if it's known, right? The event is going to happen. So people are supposed to know the event happening. So it can also mean the thing that falls hard. So a few meanings here of the word waqi'ah. So it happens only in a moment and it's unique. It's feminine, and the ta marbuta gives it abundance. So it takes a female structure, and the female structure actually indicates that it's going to be really, really a big thing, right? It's a really big thing that is, we call it a hyperbolized, or it is exaggerated to show that this particular event is going to be a big thing. It's huge. It's one event that is equivalent to many. So this is the function of the ta marbuta at the end of the waqi'ah. The waqi'ah tu, right? The tu there is called the ta marbuta. This would also suggest its certainty, right? That means because it is an ism and is a the, so for sure it's going to happen. And furthermore, of course, having a past tense to show that it's confirmed. As mentioned, past tense means what is past is confirmed, what is future is unknown, right? So it's confirmed. It's always in the future. The Arab's going to use a past tense to really confirm that it's going to happen. So إذا وقعت, the waqa'at is a past, but إذا makes it future. And so that's how they actually use words, right, to confound people. Actually, people realize how amazing this is being used. So the word al-waqi'ah refers to the day of judgment, alluding to it by this word expressing its certainty. Arguments which substantiate the advent of the of this day have been mentioned in detail. Right. Somehow, hold on. All right, sorry. Okay. All right. Are you explaining about the word that it is certain, right? It's an ism and its certainty. In the previous surahs, enough arguments presented to confirm its occurrence. So although it somehow إذا وقعت الواقعة seems to be so sudden, but actually it's not sudden because the previous surahs actually was talking about the event or the day, the final day. Moreover, the doubts and questions raised by the disbelievers regarding the possibility and happening of this day has also been answered one by one. So it is not now said that these people should know that this will happen in spite of their doubts and objections, and that they shall not be able to run away from it. All right, so here we have that that this is for sure going to happen, right? You can't run away from it. There's no doubt about it, and it's for sure going to happen. Sorry. Laisa is not. Liwaqa'atiha, waqa'ah is its occurrence. Waqa'ah is befalling, is happening, right? Liwaqa'atiha, its occurrence. Kadhibah, a denial. Kadhib, right, is a denial. So that is laisa. Liwaqa'atiha, ha is its. Kadhibah, a denial. Right? So there is no denying that it will befall. So Yusuf Ali says that there will no soul entertain falsehood concerning its coming. So you can see that Yusuf Ali explains more than what the verse is saying, right? It says Laisa not at its occurrence a denial, right? So it's talking about its occurrence here, that it's referring to the waqiah being a female, right? So we have a ha there. There is no belying its coming to pass, and none denies its descending. So again, Arbery doesn't seem to capture the word kadhiba being a denial, and he actually changed it to a verb. There are lots of changes being made in translation. When we look at the original Arabic, we realize that there's a lot to it in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the language. So laisa liwaq'atiha, not for its time or its befalling, a denial. So there's no way, there's nothing can be denied of it happening. So laisa liwaq'atiha kadhiba. The word kadhiba has several meanings. It's an adjective of nafs, right? That's not a single person can deny. So that is why we can see here, Yusuf Ali tries to explain the word kadhiba using this definition of describing the soul. The nafs is a soul. So that's not a single person can deny it. So that's one meaning. It's a female because the denying, rejecting nafs is female. All right, so here they use the word female. Tak maruta always signify female. All right, and the nafs is always considered as a female. The two conditions of the nafs, none can say on that day, I can't believe my eyes, or this is not for real. Or like people who are in denial, this isn't happening in an attempt to lessen the trauma. Like it's not happening. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't believe it. It's just not happening. It's impossible. It's not happening. So that is the condition of the nafs in denying the happening. Right? And none can say this is all lie. This isn't the truth. Also, the word kadhiba is a verbal noun, which means that there is absolutely no doubt in its happening. So there are a few ways at looking at the kadhiba. So you can see it as an adjective. That means it is describing, right? Describing the state of the soul. Or you can see it as a verbal noun. That means which shows that it is definitely going to happen. Now, all right, it's definitely going to happen. If they suspiciously think that they are being falsely treated about a catastrophe, let it be known to them that there is not a bit of falsehood in it. So all this while they have been informed in the various surahs about the coming of the day of resurrection, or the final day. This is like the final day where it will happen, where the whole world will be disintegrated, right? They are still in doubt or in denial, right? And most people are actually in denial. Denial doesn't mean they don't believe, but they just don't want to believe it, right? There's a difference there. So they suspiciously think that they are being falsely threatened about a catastrophe. So they think it is just a threat and it's not going to happen, that kind of thing. Let it be known to them that there is not a bit of falsehood in it. So this is to emphasize, like, laisa liwaq'atiha kadhiba, not it's befalling, right, a lie. It's not a lie. It is definitely true, right? There is no way it's a lie. Cannot be denied at all. All right. Hafidha, hafidhatun. Remember to pronounce it properly. Hafidha. Hafidha, right, means to debase, to make low. Hafidhatur rafi'ah. Rafi'ah is to be raised, to be elevated. Rafi'. Rafi'ah, elevated. Hafidhatun, hafidhatur rafi'ah, abasing, elevating. Syed International says it will bring down some and raise up others. All right, so you can see that here it's very two words only, and both words are isms, right? Isms. Hafidah is also a word which actually represents a person that is continuously being humiliated. Rafi'ah, a person that is continuously being raised. Right, so it'll bring down some and raise up others. It's because it's abasing some, exalting others. Right, and many will it bring down and many will it exalt. So the many here, we will look at why they would use such some, and there's no it here. Of course, you can see that there's no it there. There is just a word saying abasing and elevating. Right, so our tafsirs would try to explain to us a little bit, or else it might be difficult for us to understand this when we reach the tafsir in itself. Hafidah, rafi'ah. Both are isms suggesting permanency. And we always remember, isms means noun, adjectives, adverbs. These are all isms. In the Arabic language, grammar, there's only three main parts of speech. First one is the isms, which covers adverbs, adjectives, and nouns. Then we've got the verbs, right? The verbs, that's the fi'al. And then we've got the hurufs. The hurufs are small words like fi, min. These are like prepositions and conjunctions. All right. both are isms. So that means isms has no time frame. Like if we talk about fi'al has a time frame. Fi'al is verb, it's future, it's past, it's now, right? But when you talk about ism, it's for example, I say I'm a teacher. Wherever I go, I'm still a teacher, whether I'm teaching or not, right? But if I say I'm teaching, and at that particular moment I'm teaching, right? So that is a teacher is an ism, right? So I'm a teacher all the time. So it has no time frame. It is forever. So hafidah. So it's permanent. Rafi'ah. So no denial of it, lowering and raising. This action could be on all creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are brought to think, to realize that those people who are listening to this verse is very captivating actually. If you listen to it, it's very short, very fast moving verse. إذا وقعت الواقعة ليس لوقعتها كاذبة خافضة رافعة. Right, so like خافضة رافعة, very strong and powerful to debase. So there are those who will be humiliated and are those who will be raised. So it according to Mufassirin, is anything would be given debasing or raising. People should not have the misconception that the high position which they have today will always remain with them, and so will the lowly and underprivileged. Right? People are always thinking of themselves as great. Those who are great thinks they are great, and those who are low are considered low and underprivileged. When this happens, these heavens and earth will appear with new laws. Standards of respect and honor will totally change. On that day, the believers will be blessed with all honor and status. And so here we do understand the Hafillah refers to those people who have denied Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those people who have denied the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and has used the blessings that Allah has blessed them with, all the faculties and facilities Allah has blessed them with, to deny the sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So believers, on the other hand, those who believe strongly in this day, they have made enough, they have done a lot of preparation, right, to to be elevated, inshallah, on this day. The disbelievers will be disgraced. Ida rujjatil ardu rajja. Ida is when, it's past future. Rujjat is past tense, right? Rujjatil is shaken, right? Rajaja is shaken. The earth shakes. Rujjatil shook the earth, shaking. Is shaken somehow sounds passive, right? But rujat is not a passive word. It's passive. So when is shaken, rujat, referring to the earth is a female here, so that is why ta is female here. Rajat. Now the last word here shows the greatness, the strength of the shaking. Idha rujjatil ardu rajja. So the ending really gives it that strength. It really tells us it's really going to be strong shaking. So the earth is shaken with a violent shake. إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجَّاءً. Because when the earth is shaken with a shock, when the earth shall be shaken to its depth, when the earth shall be shaken with a shaking. So you can see that the earth is shaken, right? So the earth is not the one that is shaking, the earth is being shaken. And we say Ardu is not the subject, but the naib subject. It's a thing that is being shaken, right? But it's not, it's taking a rafa state because the word here is passive. All right, on the earth shall be shaken with a shaking. So it's a strong shaking. So to describe the shaking, the strength of the shake, we have a shock. This one, use the word shock. This one, violent shake. This one, use it a depth, to its depthness, to the core, to be shaken to its core. Right? إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجَّا. So Abri says, when the earth shall be rocked. All right, so that's the Quran. إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجَّا is mentioned. This is future, and this is confirmed that the earth will be shaken, and a real shaking. That's Raja, a real shaking. Right? Rujat is passive, is shaken violently. It's like a wall being rammed into again and again, and it shakes violently. The reality of this occurrence is depicted on Earth, a real violent earthquake. We just had a very, very strong earthquake. It's just unbelievable that about 44,000 people have died, and millions are homeless. The amount of money we have been sending, right? It's just quite difficult to. We need lots and lots of money to actually do that. A real violent earthquake. All right, so that's a real violent. إذا رجت الأرض رجا وبست الجبال بسا. Busat, right? Wa is n, right? Busat. So either continues when this happens, when the earth was shaken, and when it's crumbled. Busat again was crumbled. Past tense. Jibal is plural of mountain. Jabal is one. Jibal is many, the mountains. Basa, crumbling. Again, right? This is the nasab, which emphasizes the nature of the crumbling or the strength of the crumbling. And the mountains will be crumbled with the crumbling, right? So, Abussatil jibalu bassa. Then Allah talks, the earth shaken, the mountains will be crumbled. We have not really seen that, right, in our lives. Maybe you've seen some volcanic eruptions, but not the mountains, going to become crumbling mountains. I mean, it's huge mountains, especially when you go to, especially in Mecca, a long time ago. I mean, nowadays, we do see people going, the Meccans, the Saudis have bore through the mountains and they make tunnels and things like that. So tunnels, mountains can be broken into. But at that time, in the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right, these huge mountains are just like impossible to be touched. And yet Allah is saying that it's going to be crumbled. The mountains around you will be crumbled, a real crumbling. That's what it is. Basa, a real crumbling. So basa is a part of the process of making dough. The hard rocky mountains become like dough. So become soft like dough. So the word crumble doesn't seem to describe the true meaning of the word basa. Somehow our translators choose the word crumbling. Basically, it is just to say the mountains get softened is quite difficult to actually describe that. It also means to be crushed into particles. So there's two meanings, so they choose the other meaning, right, which is to crush into particles, which of course crumble actually has. A frightening thought for Arabs who see mountains as strong as fortresses. It would take a very strong force to cause such destruction to the mountains, to crumble it, right? Of course, people have done lots of work to bore through mountains, but this is like crumbling, right? What has happened that the mountains just crumble, a real crumbling, they just become gone. فكانت, fa is then, kanat like, kanat, then like, kanat, then was. See, kanat is not like actually. Kana is like was. Then was kanat. Fakanat. Haba munbatha. Haba is particles scattered. Then they become scattered particles. They will become dispersed dust particles. Fakanat, then was. Kana is from the word kana, kun, was. It's a verb to be in the title. At the end makes it a female. Haba is it's a plural, right? So this kind of plurals we consider as a single female entity, and that is why we use a ta here, right? As a female verb here. Fakanat haba mumbatha. So it's like haba, particles scattered. So the mountains crumbled, a real crumbling, and as if the particles are scattered all over the place. First it melts, then the heat is so intense that it evaporates and the particles scattered about. You can see that the first Syrian also might not be able to have a really good picture of what's happening, right? Because he talks about melting, whereas we saw that the word Mumbatha, وبثت. All right, so if you talk about melting, then it might refer to it becoming a dough. It goes down and it's crumbled out like that. And it evaporates the particles. So it doesn't evaporate the particles scattered about. When we talk about crumbling, then the idea of dust is much more evident and much more clearer there. On that day, the earth shall be jolted and shaken, and the towering mountains will disperse like dust. Such an earthquake will ensue that it will cause the earth to severely shake and tremble and raise to the ground all the structures, edifices, and castles on it. So that means it will be thrown out with all the huge shaking. It will be thrown out, it will be broken into pieces, right, and becoming dust. So much so these gigantic mountains will become dust that will fly about. All right, let's recite the verse. Right, this will be, we go part by part so that we recall as we move along, inshallah. إذا وقعت الواقعة ليس لوقعتها كاذبة خافضة رافعة إذا رجت الأرض رجا وبست الجبال بسا فكانت حباء منبثا. All right, we go on to the next section, and we've got some words there. Mash'amah, it's the left, mash'amah. Sham from the word sha'amah. Sha'amah is the left. If you are in Mecca, right, your left side is the Sham, Syria, and your right side would be Yemen. Right, Yemen. Right is down. Imagine yourself on the plateau, the Arabian Peninsula. Sorry. Sabiqun, sabaqa. The word sabaqa means to compete. All right, sabiqun. A lot of people there, well known, right? What is sabaqa? Those who compete. Sabiqun, the foremost. I mean, the ones right in front, competing. So Latun, we know the word thalatha. In the Arabic language, we have in grammar we've got one, we've got two, and three. Three means more, it's a lot, right? When you have three, it's a lot, right? So Thulatun, like thalath, right? It's not thalath, actually, there's no tha there, but it means a large number. Thulatun means a large number. Sururin, throne. Surur is throne. Mawdunah, luxuriously inlaid. Mawdunah. These are words we need to learn so that when we recite, it's easier for us to recall its meaning. Muttaki'ina, right? Muttaki'ina means to recline, reclining. Muttaki'ina, reclining. Mutaqabilin, what is qabala? Qiblat is to face. Qiblat is to face. Facing each other. Right? Mutaqabilin, those facing each other, those reclining actually. This is referring to people here. Mutaqabilin. So these are the words. Yatufu from the word tawaf here. To go round. Yatufu, tawaf. Al-mash'amah, the left. As-sabiqun. As-sabiqun, the foremost. Thullatun, a large number. Sururin, throne. Mawdunah, luxuriously inlaid. Muttaki'ina, reclining. Mutaqabilin, facing each other. And yatufu, go round. Next set. Wildan, not walad, but wildan, plural, boys. Akwab, vessels or cups. Abariq, bowls. Ka'sin, cups or glasses. Ma'in, springs, flowing wines. There's a few meaning to it here. Yusaddauna, have headache. All right, so yusaddauna. Yunzifun, be exhausted. And be exhausted. So yusaddauna from the word sada'a, and it's present future tense, right? Fi'al mudari, this is fi'al mudari. Also yunzifun, also fi'al mudari in a rafa' state. This is a rafa' state. All this is an ism because there's a tanwin here, ism here. Abariq, we can't really see here, but it looks like an ism. Ka'sin, again, ism. Ma'in, also ism. All right, we have yatakhayyarun. Yatakhayyarun, the root word is khayr. Khayr is to choose what is good. And the ya and the waw nun makes it a verb. It is fi'il mudari. Yashtahun from the word shahawa. Shahawa means desire. Shahwat, desire. And the present future tense, rafa. Again, yashtahun. This is a ta insertion. You have the ifta'ala structure here. Hor is fair partners. Then you've got lo is pearl. The pearl, actually, there's a the. Al-maknoon, one word makan. Makan is in a place, right? Maknoon is place hidden. It's hidden. Lagwan, nonsense talk. And ta'thiman, sinful speech. Athim is sinful. Ta'thiman, sinful speech. Look at the words again. Yatakhayyarun, they choose. Yashtahun, they desire. Hurun, fair partners. Lu'lu', pearl. Al-maknoon, hidden. Lagwan, nonsense talk. And ta'thima, sinful speech. All right. Wa kuntum, and they were, past tense, fi'il madi here. Azwajan, azwaj are groups. Zawj, one, but azwaj, a lot. So we can call them as groups. Thalatha, three groups. Thalatha is three, we're quite familiar with that. Wa kuntum azwajan thalatha. And you will be in three groups. Wa kuntum azwajan thalatha. This is a complex grammar. Grammatically supposed to say thalathata azwajin. Right, supposed to say thalathata azwajin, but somehow Allah decided to give it a certain grammar. Wa kuntum, and they were azwajan salathan, right? Three groups actually. Three groups. This one is descriptive of the other, but three groups are supposed to be thalathata azwajin. It's an off structure kind of thing. But azwajan thalathan is a special construction. It suggests that they will be broken into comparable groups. This does not describe the group. So this way of writing suggests that their groups, they are of the same category of people in three groups. They are categorized. So Zawj is a pair, night, day, man, woman, etc. Zawj also refers to a group that is made up of those who are interdependent of each other. That means the groups which depend on each other. Right? They both depend on each other. One cannot function without the other. A society is a zawj. There are different groups working to form a society. So that is another meaning of zawj. Zawj is not only confined to couples, right? Husband and wife and things like that, but it also forms a group that depends on each other. So this interdependency within a group is known as zawj. So azwaj gives rise to many as these independent parts are divided. Interdependent parts are divided. Thus, there'll be three groups. Each group will with members dependent on each other. For ashabul maymana, fa is then. Ashabul maymana, then the companions of the right. Then the companions of the right. Fa is then. Ashab is of course companions. Ashabul maymana. Now ashabul maymana we know is an off structure because ashab doesn't have an al. When we put an al there, that is okay with off structures or mudaf ilai structure. Maymana from the word yamin. Yamin is mentioned yaman. Yamin, right? Maymana is the right. For ashabul maymana, then the companions of the right. Ma, what? Ashabul maymana. Companions of the right. Ashabul maymana. What is the companions of the right? Ma ashabul maymana. So for ashabul maymana, ma ashabul maymana. So here for Ashabul Maymana, Ma Ashabul Maymana. We have the groups are being identified here for Ashabul Maymana, Ma Ashabul Maymana. So Maymana comes from the word Yamin. Yamin is also an infinitive, an idea, right? So Maymana is a special masdar that suggests way on the right, extreme right. So Maymana comes from Yamin as mentioned. Yamin is a right, right? So Yamin is also it's an idea, right? So Maymana is a special masdar. Masdar is a grammatical item that suggests way on the right. It means the extreme right. So then the companions of the right. Now, what is the companions of the right? So comes the question after that. What is the companions of the right? So the companions of the right, and what is the companions of the right? Maymana can come from Yemen, which also denotes happiness. They symbolize the saved believers doing righteous good deeds. The word itself, right, tells us they are going to be saved because they are on the right. Right? This is always considered as good to be on the right side, and they are saved. They shall be granted divine reward. So there's nothing much said here. It's just we have three groups, right? وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَأَزْوَاجًا ثَلَاثًا. Azwajan Salata. Three groups, they are formed. Right. Then suddenly Allah mentioned that there's one group of them is the extreme right group. For Ashabul Maymana, Ma Ashabul Maymana. As the first group includes the happy and the fortunate ones. Right. If you see the word Yamin as Yaman, which means to be happy. The interrogative ma, what, can express majesty and grandeur and can also express hate and disgust. So, oh my, the people of the right, what amazing people on the right path. So that is the ma, is that what ashabul maymana ma ashabul maymana. So it's not just what, but it has a greater intensity to it with an exclamation, right? That Subhanallah. This is really, really amazing, these people. Here it is grandeur. That is, one cannot even begin to imagine the majesty and the grandeur. Eternal bliss and affluence and well-being of the companions of the right hand. How can one describe them and who can assess their extent? So that is why the ma is Ashabul Maymana. Ma Ashabul Maymana. The style is adopted when the situation is such that the words of the incident portrayed are beyond words and imagination. All right. Ashabul mash'ama, and the companions. And the companions of the left. And the companions of the left. And the companions of the left. Ashabul mash'ama, and the companions of the left. Ma, what? Ashabul mash'ama, companions of the left. Same structure. Ashab is ashabul mash'ama, is mudaf ilayhi, the off structure, because the ashab doesn't have bun, right? An ism is supposed to have a bun, right? A tanwin there. This one doesn't have a tanwin, and here it's in this kasrah. That means it is in its a jar state. So that is the off structure. That's where the off comes from. Right here is wa is n, ashabul mash'ama, companions of the left. So the is taken from the al. All right, ma, what are the companions of the left? All right, as mentioned, wa ashabul mash'amah, ma ashabul mash'amah. So Shu'um is the opposite of Yumun. So you have Shu'um and Yumun. Sham, right, as mentioned, also can be left. Yumun is happy. So Shawma means to be unlucky, unfortunate. So there's two meanings to the word Sha'am, right? Left, but at the same time, unlucky and unfortunate. So Mutasha'im is pessimist, a person who's always being Sha'am, right? This is always thinking of the negative things. So that's how that's the other depressed, wretched, and unfortunate ones. Ashabul mash'amah, ma ashabul mash'amah. Mash'amah, extreme state of depression, extreme left. So the expression maymana is also used to mean attaining to what is right, The term mash'ama is used to denote losing oneself in evil. So there's a lot of meanings to it, right? So the word maimana are those people who attain, who try, who put effort, daily efforts to do what's right, whereas the people of mash'ama, they lost themselves in doing evil things. They are in a very depressive state, very unfortunate condition, the people of mash'ama. The origin of both these usages is based on the belief of the pre-Islamic Arabs that future events could be predicted by observing the direction of the flight of birds at certain times. So these are the superstitions of the Arabs, which Rasulullah came to remove. If they flew to the right, the event in question promised to be auspicious. To the left, the contrary. So it's not only the direction of the birds, they actually would see a flock of birds maybe on a wall, and then they would actually clap their hands to ascertain whether what they're doing is going to be good or not. So if the birds all fly off to the right, then it's a good event. If it's all fly to the left, then better not do it, better not go for it, better not travel. So this is how they actually find reasons, decide whether they should go on travels or do any events or whatever activities they want to do. This ancient belief was gradually absorbed by linguistic usage that the right and left becomes more or less synonymous with auspicious and inauspicious. So right is good, left is not good. In the idiom of the Quran, these two concepts have been deepened into righteousness and unrighteousness, respectively. So ma is used to show hate and disgust. As mentioned, ma can be used in two different ways. Ma ashabul maymana. Ma is amazed by the condition of those on the right. Ma ashabul mash'ama. Terrible. Terrible is the condition of the left. Thus, just as one cannot imagine the good fortune of the companions with the right hand, in a similar way, one cannot imagine the misfortune, humiliation, and evil fate of the companions of the left hand. Words are powerless to portray this. They themselves understand how they feel. When you see someone so sick, we see them sick and cringing their face, or their face so small, and we feel, we can never feel how they feel. We can sort of, think about how they feel, but no, we will never ever feel how they. Likewise, when a person is overjoyed and so happy, we see, we share their happiness, but we can never feel their happiness. Only they will know who will face the situation. So this is of those who are humiliated, unfortunate, and evil. وَالسَّابِقُونَ السَّابِقُونَ, and the foremost of the foremost. And the foremost of the foremost. سَابِقُونَ, the foremost, the foremost. All right. The foremost. As mentioned, it's like a competition, right? They are moving right in front. These are the first class honors people. Sabiqun, they work hard, they compete, they run the race. Sabiqun, the word sabaqa, the word musabaqa is a competition, right? Sabaqa is to run ahead, to compete. So sabiqun, continuously in a state, the alif tells us is continuously in a state of being ahead. Right? So sabiqun, sabiqun, sabiqun. Sabiq is one who wins a race. So sabiqun, of course, plural, right? And plural. Sabiqun, sabiqun. Musabiq is one who races. So musabaqa is one who is trying to win. The two same words used, powerful way of emphasizing. So it means sabiqun, sabiqun, to show that these are real things, right? People who are always on the go, always moving ahead of everyone else. One opinion here, Allah uses the same subject and predicate. Sabiqun, sabiqun. So emphasizing that's it, that's what they are. They are those who are ahead. They are the foremost, that's what they are. So, or it's like, let me tell you about the first and the foremost, and all that you need to know is that they are the first and the foremost. That's it. They are this great first and the foremost. They shall necessarily reach the pinnacle of human attributes, and who can imagine the spirit. So it's really, really amazing what they are doing, right? All right. So they are the ones who really work hard, right? A comparison of the ones that are foremost in this world and foremost in the next world. So there's another opinion of the word two foremost, one foremost in this world, and the other one is foremost in the next world. So the first foremost represents those who are ahead in this world, and the next foremost are those who are ahead in the next world. So opinions again. Right, taking the lead in matters of faith and doing righteous good deeds is meritorious. Meritorious. Those who take the lead in doing righteous good deeds in this world shall be foremost in receiving divine rewards. Sabiqun is an ad hoc applied to those who are not only foremost in matters of faith and belief, but are also foremost in doing righteous good deeds and matters of human ethics. So they are just out there competing to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They work hard, right? They pray, not only the 5 daily prayers, more than that, they add on to it. They've got their fast regime, they got their wearied regime, they got all kinds of things. And on top of that, they are out there helping people, right? So they are really, really working very hard to be the best. Sabiqun wa sabiqun. They serve as people's role models and leaders. It is clear that these terms does not signify the arrangement of people who will stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the first place, in the assembly of Allah, the concept of right and left, front and back is a meaningless one. Even if this concept is accepted, then it is an acknowledged fact that the companions of the left hand will have no place in this gathering, neither on the left nor at the back. So this is now looking at the situation in the next world, what is left, what is right, it's arbitrary, right? There's something which we have invented in our lives, we have known about it. So it's more for us to understand. But in reality, what are they? Where are they? We don't know in the next world. So their abode shall be hell. So basically, these are the unfortunate ones, these are the happy ones, they go to heaven, right? Also, the companions of the right hand do not refer to common Muslims. They refer to people whose accounts will be handed over in their right hands to honor them, and they'll be very happy and joyous on their achievements. So we've got that again. We are aware of this conversation that people will get things in their right hand, right? We have those who receive their books in their right hands, right? They will be honored. They'll be happy, and they will, shout, "Come, let's read my book." Right? And that's why when we take our wudu and we wash our right hand, as we look at our right hand and we wash it, we made a dua in our heart that Allah gives us our book in our right hand. And when we wash our left hand, we made a dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect this left hand from taking the book, because that means doom for you. They're different from sabiqun. So there is 2 groups of people, right? You've got the yamin, maimanah, and these sabiqun, sabiqun. So they're different, right? All right, let's recite and recall. وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا ثَلَاثَةً وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا ثَلَاثَةً فَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ وَأَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ وَالسَّابِقُونَ السَّابِقُونَ. أُولَئِكَ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. أُولَئِكَ these مُقَرَّبُونَ. Qarib is close, right? The near ones, muqarrabun. So the sabiqun. Now we go on from the sabiqun, then we go and describe them. They are the ones that are close. Ulaikal muqarrabun. We ask Allah to make us among the sabiqin and among the muqarrabin. Why I say sabiqin and muqarrabin? Because among is an huruf jar. Right, so when we talk about huruf jar, then we have muqarrabin, right, and sabiqin, not sabiqun. Sabiqun is rafa, and muqarrabun is rafa. Those, they are the muqarrabun, the near ones. Ulaikal muqarrabun. Supposed to have home in between the 2 words as per correct grammar. So it's saying that it's not that the grammar is not correct, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has special ways of using language. And this kind of ways of using that Allah uses the language actually shocks or shake the Arabs. The Arabs have got a very refined use of their language, They have perfected the use of their language with lots of nuances, and they have have different kinds of prose. But this kind of use of language actually surprised them. They realized, oh wow, kind of thing. The hum was supposed to be there, but it's not there. Ulaika humul muqarrabun. Hum ulaika al muqarrabun. Hum in between the two words. So ulaika al humul muqarrabun. Ulaika humul muqarrabun. Allah uses this style to bring them close to Him. Right. So the grammarians have seen this style and realized that the muqarrabun, the whom, is not necessary to be there, because Allah wants the muqarrabun to emphasize that the muqarrabun are those really close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A rhetoric in the Quran. It's a way of using language which create closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So muqarrabun comes from the word taqrib, which means to bring something closer, closer, and closer. Qaraba. Qaraba becomes taqrib. These people, the status is raised higher and higher and higher to reach Allah on Judgment Day. The special people, they are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just as they strove to get closer and closer and closer to Allah in this world. So they strive very hard. As mentioned, they are the sabiqeen, right? They work very hard. They want to be foremost, right, ahead of everyone in the race to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they want to be closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing all kinds of amals that will bring them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This word has beautiful secret about getting closer to Allah on a daily basis. So every day they work hard to get closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Getting closer to Allah is a goal. Every day we inch towards it, and every day is an opportunity. So we see lots of opportunities to get closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fi jannatin na'im. Fi is in. So because fi is huruf jar, jannat goes into a jar state. When I say jar state, means it's in a kasrah. Jannatin na'im, but jannatin na'im is an off structure. Jannat is garden, and Na'im, right? Jannat doesn't have a tanwin, and Na'im is in a jar state, so there's an off structure. Mudaf ilahi structure. Fi jannatin na'im, right? In gardens of delight. Fi jannatin na'im. Jannat, right? It's plural there. Fi jannatin na'im. The previous one doesn't have alif. Supposed to have an alif to show it's plural. Gardens of delight. Fi jannatin na'im, in gardens of delight. So these sabiqeen, this qarrabun, they will be in gardens of delight. They shall reside in the paradise of favor, which has no concept of any court of Allah in it. The gardens of bliss, with all that they contain, is nothing compared to that topmost favor of being nearest to Allah subhanahu. So despite the fact that they are in gardens of bliss, right? But what they want is to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the joy of being close to Allah is immense, right? So gardens of bliss, with all that they contain, is nothing compared to the topmost favor of being nearest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But these are the people, the muqarrabin, the muqarrabun, they will be in gardens of delight. Fi jannatin na'im. Sullatum minal awwalin. Sullah is numerous. We saw the word just now. Minal awwalin, of the early ones. Awal is early. Awwalin, the early ones, plural. Right? Sullatum minal awwalin. Wa qalil. Qalil is little, very, very few. Minal akhirin, of the later ones. And a few from the later ones. Sullatum minal awwalin. Wa qalilum minal akhirin. So both here, ya nun at the end tells us the jar sit because of the main huruf jar, and here also ya nun jar sit because of the main huruf jar. It's our rafa and it is ism. Sullatum minal awwalin. So these people of the muqarrabin, the close to Allah, they are lots numerous among the earlier ones. So the later ones, not really that much, would actually work hard to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa qalilum min al-akhirin, and very, very few from the later ones. The word sullah means group or party. However, since the word qalil, less, is used in contrast to it, it should be construed to mean a large group, because there is a comparison here. Thullatum and then qalil. So thulla is now considered as a large group. Earliest is not necessarily historical, but by rank. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said that when these ayah were revealed, this news became hard for the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, we have to realize that wherever in any era, like for us, we would consider ourselves as the later ones, right? And the Sahabas would be the earlier ones. Where the Sahabas are concerned, they will see themselves as the later ones because they are there in that era. And the earlier ones would be the people of Bani Israel and such, right? So they felt, they were worried, they were upset, they felt that maybe they might not be able to be of the muqarrabun, because they are the later ones. So this one, someone else explained that it's not historical. I mean, it's not by time frame, as early and late, right? But more of by rank. Awal, top, right? And akhir is the last, the one that comes last. Like, you know. All right, anyway, in authentic hadith compilations that Rasulullah SAW said, the best people are my generation, then the next generation, and the next generation. So you've got the Sahabas, the Tabi'in, and the Tabi'in. He also said, a group of my ummah will always remain on the truth and dominant, unharmed by those who fail to support them and those who defy them until the last hour begins. So it is definite that there will be groups of people and among the ummah of Rasulullah who are not affected by those who fail to support their work. Now here we realize in this hadith that there will be moments, there will be difficulties, right, inflicted on the people of the Prophet ﷺ, his ummah, who are steadfast on the truth and who tries their very best to be on the truth. People will defy them, and people will just condemn them and not support them. And they stand hard, they stand fast, firm, right? As they, when we are taught also to make dua, thabbit qulubana ala ta'atika, ya muqallibal qulub, thabbit qulubana ala ta'atika, oh the turner of hearts, make firm our hearts in your obedience. And these are various du'as. So until the last hour begins, they are there, right, being the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu. From Aisha radiallahu anha, Rasulullah sallallahu asked the people, do you know who on the day of resurrection will be the first to be accommodated under the divine shade? It's not here, will be here. Will be the first accommodated under the divine shade. It's a question from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people said, Allah and His Messenger only had the best knowledge. Thereupon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, those who were such that when the truth was presented before them, they accepted it forthwith. When the right was asked of them, they discharged it gracefully. And the decision in respect of others are the same as in respect of their own selves. So 3 characteristics of people who will be the first to go under the divine shade. First, they have no worries about the truth. They see it and they accept it straight away. They have no doubts, they have no question. All right, second one, the rights of others, they discharge it gracefully. They know it's a right of others, they will discharge it gracefully. And the third one is that whatever decision they make on others is the same as themselves. That means they are not biased for themselves. They are fair people, right? They make proper decisions for all. This is what it is. First, accept the truth. Second, giving people their rights, and third, being fair. Several views here. The first view suggests that the earlier generations refer to those who attained to a high degree of faith from among the communities that lived prior to the advent of Islam, while the few from the later generations refer to the ones who were first to accept Islam and strive hard for its cause. Second view says that both the majority and the minority belongs to the followers of Rasulullah, with the ones of earlier times belonging to its first generation and the others to the later ones. So as mentioned here, the awalun, thulatun min al-awwalin, right? So the awal here, one opinion say they are the people before Islam, and the people after Islam is the akhirin. Another view is that the awalin are the people near to during the time of Rasulullah SAW, and the akhirin are the people that is now later generations. All right, so we leave it as that. But basically, we do know that the earlier ones, as mentioned, it might not be also the earlier ones. There will be groups of people who are in Jannatul Na'im, right? Gardens of delight. Ala sururim mawduna. Ala is on, surur is thrones, mawduna is decorated. So decorated, inlaid, whatever you want to describe it, right? So describing where they are beautiful thrones, decorated thrones on ala sururim mawduna. These are the details of the paradise of the muqarrabin. These are the paradise of delight for the muqarrabin. First, their sitting place and the manner of their reclining in it is portrayed. They will sit on jeweled and gold-plated thrones facing one another. The ancient kings of Persia would grace their thrones, which were gold-plated and decked with various jewels like pearls and other expensive stones. So this is part of the wealth of the world, but this is the next world. We might be able to think about it, we imagine, but what we imagine is beyond the reality, because as mentioned by the hadith of Rasulullah, it says that the joys is just beyond understanding. Muttaki'ina, they will be reclining. Taki'ina alayha, on them. These are people who will be reclining. They will be reclining on them. Mutaqabilin, and they will be facing each other. Reclining on them, facing one another. So in this world, these people work very hard. They won't have thrones of gold and silver. They are not interested, in fact, in these thrones of gold and silver. They are consider themselves as wayfarers or travelers on earth. Right? Travel doesn't carry much, just carry a simple bag, and that's about it. And he travels from one place to another. He's not interested in all these things. But in the next world, they'll be rewarded because they have worked hard in this world to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Doing all kinds of ibadah, and they will go to the next world, right? Sitting on thrones that are decorated. And this is something which they do not hope for in this world, but they hope for in the next world. And they will be lying down, relaxing, right? Because they have done their work on the thrones, and they will be facing each other. This shows that they are all having friends and companions, lots of companions in the garden of delight. Muttaki'ina alayha mutaqabilin. The words muttaki'in automatically encompasses the meaning of cushions, because cushions on thrones are necessary to recline against. Thrones must have cushions, or you cannot lie down on the thrones. And since ancient times, these were the essential supplements to the royal throne. So thrones have got cushions, beautiful inlaid cushions, beautifully decorated cushions, and you can just relax and sit back. Sitting or facing one another indicates that their hearts will not have any envy, spite, or ill feeling for one another. You're happy with each other, facing each other, looking at each other. There's great companionship. Muttaki'ina alayha mutaqabilin. Yatufu alayhim wildanum mukhalladun. Yatufu means circulating, going around, like tawaf. Alayhim, on them or around them, right? Wildanum mukhalladun. Wildan from the word walid, all right, or walad. Wildan is plural. Mukhalladun from the word Khalid. Khalid is forever. And mukhalladun, forever, they will not perish. Perpetual youths. That means they'll be young forever. Young kids, right? Yatufu alayhim wildanum mukhalladun. Round about them are perpetual youths. So Allah goes on describing the condition that these muqarrabin will be in the next world. Yatufu alayhim bildanum mukhalladun. Energetic young men not growing old, ready to serve. This is evidently a symbolic allusion to the imperishable quality of the next world. You'll be having attendants, looking after you, giving you whatever you want, always available at all times. The eternal youthfulness, as it were, of all the experiences in the state described as paradise. So in paradise, there will be no aging, right? You'll be young as ever, right? And you have young ones also attending to you. Alayhim brought forward specifically for them. Yatufu alayhim for them, on them, right? Doing work for them. Wildanum mukhalladun. Bi akwabin, B is with. Akwab as vessels. Wa abariq, and bowls. All right, it's all plurals. Akwab, abariq, wa ka'sid, glasses. Mimmain, offspring. Mimmain, offspring. Oh, the word ain is spring. Ainun is eye, but the eye of the water is spring. Mimmain, with cups, bowls, and a glass from a spring. بأكواب وأبارق مما وكأس من معين. Yusuf Ali says with goblets, beakers. All right, so he has a different translation here. Akwab, he says goblets. Goblets are like, you know, big bowls like that. Beakers, abariq, and cups filled out of clear flowing fountains. So he described the spring as clear flowing fountains. And you've got another translation. Shakir says, with goblets and ewers, so we don't use the word ewers, all right, and a cup of pure drink, all right, a ka'sim, this is cup here. And Muhammad Sa'war says, goblets, jugs, and cups of clear, crystal clear wine. So Muhammad Sa'war says wine, right, whereas others says it's water. Bi'akwabi wa abariq wa ka'sim min ma'in. All right, so these people, these young lads, young people around you, serving you all the time, right? They are carrying bowls, the akwab, wa abariq, right? Some bowls of food, fruits, whatever, right? Abariq, all these are descriptions of the kind of crockery that you have. Abariq, wa ka'sim min ma'in, and of, as mentioned, got a cup of pure water. All kinds of drinks are passed around. Drinks are poured into different containers. Iqab, cups without handles. Abariq, mugs. Cups. So you can see the differences in meanings. As difference. So you've got goblets. Goblets says doesn't have handles. Mugs, right, have got handles. Right? And you have glasses, cups. There's class in paradise. So special ways of being, like you go in a first class flight, you know, all kinds of things. They serve you nice plates and everything. But if you go to economy, all you got is packet food, right? And they call it bento, right? And nothing much special there, you know. But when you are in the first class, they ask you, what do you want, sir? You know, can I do anything for you? You can have whatever you want to. You can ask for this, you can ask for all kinds of things. All right. Yes, but this is of course in Jannah. You'll be served, right, by this this young man, perpetual young man. Ma'in has been used for pure water and fountain of pure water, and also for the fountain of pure wine. All right, so that's why there are differences in translation with the word ma'in. Bi akwabi wa abariq wa ka'sim min ma'in. La yusadda'una. La is not or no. Yusadda'una, have headache. This is present future tense. So yusadda'una, they have headache. Not they have headache from them. Them is the drinking and whatever. Wala yunzafun, and not they have exhaustion or they be exhausted. We'll change that to have a they to show that there is a they there, because the ya and the waw represent they have headache and not they be exhausted. Sounds better here when we talk about a be there and not they be exhausted. All right. right, so that's verse 19. La yusadda'una anha, from them here, from it. The ha can be it or them. It could be the drink itself, right? From the cup of drink, or them if you think a lot of other drinks. Wala yunzifun, and not they be exhausted, right? So here. Anha brought forward to emphasize one of the evils of wine. So that is it, referring to it here. Sorry, we're going to do it as it here, referring to wine. From it is wine. So somehow the translation of wine sounds better here, because you talk about headaches. Because when people take wine, I mean khamar, right? They do have headaches. La yusaddahuna anha wala yunzifun anha, from it, right? From it, that means headache from it. Nazif, not in the right mind. Wala yunzifun, the word nazafa here. So yunzifun here, the word is nazafa, right? Not in the right mind. You become, people who drink, they actually become intoxicated. When they are intoxicated, they cannot think rationally. So not in the right mind. The wine will be such that its real benefit of giving bliss and delight will be there. These people who has refrained from taking khamar, right? And they do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and next world they will be given special wine, delights, right? Drinks of delight, drinks of joy. And this is not going to give them headaches, because people who drink too much, eventually they have this withdrawal system and things like that. It has been taught that if you have headaches, you just recite this, La yusadda'una anha wala yunzifun, and you just rub your head, inshallah the headache will disappear. La yusadda'una anha wala yunzifun, yet it will be devoid of all harmful effects. So the wine that is given to these people are special wine that will not harm them in the least. The wine of this world inflicts a person with inebriation. That means they become drunk, headaches, and tiredness. After a drink, right? When they go for drinking times, what's it call it? And they drink, they seem to be feeling happy, overjoyed, but when they come back, they are really down, because the drug actually take a toll on their senses, and they becomes tired and exhausted. It's called the day after drinking. It's called a hangover. What's it called? I can't remember what it means. However, the wine of paradise will be free from these evil effects. La yusadda'una anha wa la yunzifun wa fakihatim mimma yatakhayyarun. Fakiha, fruits. Wa is an. Wa fakihatim mimma means from ma what yatakhayyarun. The word khair. Khair means good, to choose good, right? So they choose. So they choose from whatever fruits they have. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِّمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. You see, the fakiha is a jar, so it's from previous jar, of jar. Mimma, min and ma, from what? Yatakhayyarun, they choose. They can choose whatever it is. They can choose whatever it is. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِّمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِّمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. Takhayyara suggests that there will be trees and trees of fruits presented to choose from. And pick at your ease, perpetually there for you. يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِّمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. Choose whatever you want to choose. There's fruits and all kinds of trees for you to choose from. All right, fruit of paradise. Imam Ahmad recorded that Thabit said that Anas said that Rasulullah liked dreams. Once a woman came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, I have a dream that I was taken out of Medina and entered paradise. I had noise because of which paradise wept. I looked and found so and so and so and so, and she mentioned the names of 12 men whom the Prophet ﷺ had sent with a military expedition. They were later brought in with their wounds still bleeding. It was said, take them to the river Baidah. They were taken to that river and submerged in, and their faces turned as radiant as a full moon. They were brought a plate made of gold containing green dates. They ate as much of the green dates they wanted to, and whenever they turned that plate around, they would eat from the fruit it contained as much as they wanted. I ate with them. Later on, The army sent a messenger to convey news of the battle and inform that the 12 men in the dream was martyred. So that is, well, fruits. That means the fruits are just endless. The fruits are just there and there and there and there and there. They can choose whatever they want of the fruits. And of course, fruits are a source of joy to many, especially people in the deserts, which hardly get any fruits at all in their lives, right? Or maybe the other, especially the poor ones, will not be able to gain fruits. But fruits, of course, dates are there in the deserts. وَلَحْمٍ طَيْرٍ. Lahmi again is jar because of a previous jar huruf. Walahmi tayrin bird, and meat of birds. Mimma, of what yashtahun, on what shahawa desire, they desire. Whatever they desire, they get meats of birds. Flesh of fowl. Fowl, of course, can be chicken, ducks, turkey, whatever you desire. Partridge, whatever. Or the birds that can be and that you desire to eat all this one. وَلَحْمٍ طَيْرٍ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. And birds, right? لَحْمٍ طَيْرٍ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. Yashtahun according to their taste. Meat of birds, this is exotic food, not available to commoners. In paradise will be available to them whatever kinds of fruits and the flesh of the fowls which they desire. It's worthy of note that the precedence of fruit over flesh is that the former is healthier. This is an opinion of the scholar here, that Allah put fruits first and then put lahm. Or maybe, as some people have suggested, that it's better to eat fruits first before you eat anything else. And we've got articles on why fruits are more should be taken first because of the enzymes present in fruits or whatever. When you eat the fruits first, and then comes the meat. Right? Maybe wallahu alam bisawab. And consumption of fruit before meal is far better. Many people actually eat fruits after meal. It's supposed to be before meal. So this somehow confirms that وَلَحْمٍ طَيْرٍ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. Right, birds of paradise. Imam Ahmad recorded that Anas said that the messenger of Allah, Rasulullah SAW, said, birds of paradise are like both camels that graze the trees of paradise. Abu Bakr commanded, Ya Rasulullah, surely these birds must be wonderful. Rasulullah SAW said, those who eat them are more wonderful, and repeated this statement 3 times. So those who are blessed to eat the birds of paradise, they are really, really amazing people, as attested by Rasulullah SAW. The Prophet went on, and I hope that you will be among those who eat from them. All right, I'm going to stop here. اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن واجعله لنا إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة. اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وأطراف النهار واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين. اللهم أستودعك ما علمتني فردده إلي وقت حاجتي إليه فلا تنسينيه يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابات لنا في ديننا مع أهل القتر أنثى والذكر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد